Inkies, welcome back to a journal with me. Now today I am documenting my trip into the city on the weekend to see the wonderful Frida exhibition. And that wasn't the highlight of the day. The highlight was meeting some of you guys. So here I am. I had printed out a heap of Frida quotes. There were quotes all throughout the exhibition on the wall, which I thought was awesome, but I decided to print my favorite ones out and to watercolor them, and I'm going to use them a little bit later on. So here are the photos that I printed out, and I did this through a contact sheet in iPhoto because I wanted to make them a certain size and the selfie was not the size that I wanted. So I did them on a big A4 sheet, and I also did two huge photos for some accents, which you'll see me use a little bit later. So cutting all the quotes out, and I use them as visual interest. I use them in a couple of ways. Now, this photo wasn't actually in the exhibition, it was the entryway to the gift shop. They had a huge Frida sort of window display or entrance display, and it was these huge paper flowers, and I just squealed when I saw it. I loved it, so I took a photo and decided to make it the October header. Since it is now October, which means it's time for a new little page marker in my journal, and I thought that was a great little backdrop to welcome in October. And I'm just using some Dear Lizzie stickers. I think I bought them in a planner cheap set that was going cheap at Spotlight. I mainly bought them for the stickers. I didn't want the planner. I just really wanted those gold monthly stickers. I am such a sucker. So I'm doing the normal thing you guys see me do. I'm laying down watercolors, and I tried to pick colors that were present in the works that I saw in the exhibition. So there is some neon pink, even though I know Frida doesn't use neon pink, but I tried to use the turquoise, the reds, the yellows, all those sorts of colors. And this is me cutting out a photograph of the actual gallery entranceway. Now this isn't my photograph, this is actually one of the Inkies photographs, because I got so caught up in chatting that I actually forgot to take my own damn photograph. So I asked her if she had any photographs of the entranceway, and this is the one she sent me. So I decided to cut it out to make it a little bit different than just slapping a square photo on the page. And with this journal entry, I was so indecisive, and it was because the day that I actually started this, my hands were aching and I couldn't work out why, so I fumbled a bit and I did things randomly that I wouldn't normally do. I wasn't as confident in my journaling as what I normally was because my hands were hurting. Now, I purchased on the weekend a little pair of pointed tweezers, and I got them from Daiso in the beauty section, and they are to help me lay down tiny stickers like those neon pink numbers. I can never get little letters or little numbers on the page where I want them to, and these pointed tweezers were friggin' awesome. Everyone needs a pair. Everyone. Absolutely everyone. You, and you. So I'm just stamping the date, or not the date, the day, because you know I am all about the days, I'm all about the dating, date all the things, capture the memories, and I thought that looked pretty cute on top of the roof. Oh, I'm tongue-tired today, absolutely tongue-tired. I'm going through, these are postcards that I actually bought from the show, and I was a bit disappointed because when I looked at them, they were so muted. This was a card, a greeting card, and it had a beautiful, vibrant picture of Frida on it. And I had bought it to put on my wall. And because all the postcards that I bought were so muted in color, it looked very strange against my really bright backgrounds. So I decided to use the bright, beautiful photograph that I was destined to go on a frame on my wall, my journal, because that's what I do. And I decided to make her a tip-in. but I do alter the tip-in later on because it was just not stable enough, and you could tell as it was moving that it wasn't going to last the test of time, which is why I alter it later on in the video. But she looks so much better against all my bright watercolors. So the postcards didn't make it into the spread, and that is also because they didn't quite fit in the pocket, spoiler alert, that I make a little later on. And this is where you see my indecisiveness. I couldn't work out what I wanted to do, where I wanted to go. I literally was talking to myself while doing this. I don't know where my head was, and then I finally got the idea to lay down the quotes that I'd printed onto the artworks and the photographs that I'd taken in the exhibition. Sort of a way to combine the things that they did in the exhibition. They had their paintings and huge blown up pictures of their photographs. Like the one I am working on now was a huge photo that they'd put on the wall, like from floor to ceiling. It was stunning. And I loved how they did that. I loved how they put these huge, beautiful photographs of them on the wall. So I decided to put the quotes from Frida on top of the artworks as a way to sort of combine the two. And as you can see here, I'm trying to make, I don't know what was going through my head, and I think I swore a bit while doing this. I'm so glad there are voiceovers so I can be a little bit more respectable. I was trying to fit things in places that they weren't fitting. Like the picture of me and Cian, I couldn't get that to fit. And I tried and I tried and I tried and I moved it all around, and this is me gauging and feeling where I'm going, because sometimes the first thing you do is not going to look the best. I can guarantee it's not going to look the best unless you're some sort of journal savant, which I am not. So this is when I decide that the tip-in portion is not working and it needs something bigger. And so I take a Project Life card, a 4x6 grid one, and tape it to the back of Frida and just let her be up the top and sort of like spill over to the card, and I'm okay with that. So I also don't know why I added washi to the top, because then I had to crazily try and get that washi tape all sorted. It was just a mess, but it looks good in the end. I use my giant Tim Holtz numbers to stamp down the second, because it obviously is the second. And I'm just coloring it in because my stamping quality is pretty naff these days. I didn't like how square that sticker was, so I decided to round it all down and make it a little less stark. So now I am thinking about making this a pull down tip-in, which I obviously didn't do in the end because it just wouldn't fold the right way, and I was trying to decide where I wanted the quotes to go and what quotes suited what picture. And the middle picture is actually a picture of Frida in her studio. That was also a wall to ceiling photo, and it was just so lovely to see her sitting at her easel. I really loved that picture. I stood at that one for a while actually. And the bottom is just I'm pretty sure it's just a photograph of her. I actually really enjoyed the photographs almost more than some of the artwork. Some of my favorite artworks of Frida didn't make it into the exhibition, which I was a bit sad, but the photographs were mesmerizing of her. It was such an awesome look into the woman that she was, the amazing woman that she was. So I really enjoyed the photograph portion of the exhibition a lot more than what works they chose to bring over to Australia, because I think they missed out on some fantastic work. As you can see, those tweezers were like the best purchase ever. Best $2.80 I've ever spent. Dragging them across that glue and sticking them down was just really, really therapeutic, and I didn't get glue all over my fingers like I normally do. So if you have pointy tweezers, stop using them for your eyebrows. Use them for tiny, fiddly paper craft things. this is the same photograph you see with the October. I just blew it up so that I could tie in the two sort of pages together, and I turned this cardboard print, this is not printed on photo paper, this is actually printed on card, into a pocket so that I could put some of the memorabilia that was handed to us from the show, the postcard and things, and a few other bits and bobs that I made myself that I didn't want to make into tip-ins to make it a really thick page. I decided to make a pocket and have little things that I can slip in and out of that pocket. So that is what I did. I also used clear sticky tape to adhere the pocket to make it a bit more stronger. Although washi tape is great, sometimes it doesn't have the grunt of plain tape. So I decided to tip in a photograph off the pocket, and this is where your collage sheet element comes into play. I did paint Frida as an ode to this and decided that I would use it in this spread as well. And obviously I don't use that just yet. Good job, Courtney, on the voiceover. Now I'm just outlining Frida with a Sharpie and adding a little bit of Courtney into it with some stripes. I decided that little blank spot on the 4x6 needed some yellow just to tie everything in. And then I'm not quite sure what I do next. Let's wait and see. I decided that the picture of Amy, Sian and I needed to be on there, and the picture of Sian and I try so hard to find a home for it, and in the end it goes right smack bang next to number 2. And I'm happy with exactly where everything went, even though it took me a little while to get there. I do decide to add a border on the photograph. You know I'm a big believer in integrating your photographs so they don't look like they've just been slapped on the page, and even if it's just a little bit of doodling around your photo, it instantly makes it part of your artwork, part of your journal, and not just a slapdash photo on a page. As you saw, I switched pens from the Faber-Castell Pitt pen because it wouldn't go onto that washi tape. I tried it, it rubbed off instantly, so I switched to a Sharpie so I could continue the pattern without fear of it rubbing off. And here I am just grabbing some neon pink post-its. I found some other ones in Daiso. They're not quite as neon as the originals, but they're a good interim post-it when I need some hot pink in my life. And I'm just stenciling out with my good old faithful stencil the word Inkies to represent the tribe in all its neon pink glory. The stencil is back and I am just writing out the word Frida. I really like the graphic look of bold fonts, and that's why I always lean on my stencils to give me exactly what I want, since my lettering is so fail. because I didn't want to bore you, I basically used my Sharpie to add a butt ton of dots to the cover of this pocket. This is the way I do things when I'm procrastinating. I will doodle little stars, I will draw little dots, because it's my mind thinking about where I want to go next. And I do zoom in once I realize that it's pretty far off for you guys to see what I'm doing, and I'm just sort of sketching out a journaling spot for myself. So I'm kind of making my own journaling border with just a plain little pen, and I think I zoom in very, very soon so you can see what I'm actually doing. I'm just doodling little flowers and leaves. It's just something different. I really like the idea of making my own journaling spots, and I've been doing that quite a lot in my new journal. So it's become something that I really enjoy doing, and I'm just using a Faber-Castell Pitt Artist pen, and I'm pretty sure this is the small nib. Little mindless doodles may be very therapeutic to you. You may not know if you've never tried, but I really enjoy just sitting there drawing little leaves, and I kind of don't stress about it because in the scheme of things, you're not going to be, if you make a mistake, you're not going to see it because there's just so many little details, little leaves, little dots. It all just dances around together and you don't notice if you make a mistake. So, you know, create a journaling spot in your journal and just draw little leaves and flowers and stars and dots, and you'll be surprised at how much you enjoy it and how therapeutic it really is. I love doing it and do it a lot. I should have kept the camera at zoomed in level. I am just adding some little neon pink dots with not a jelly roll pen, but like a gel pen from Officeworks, and I'm just adding those little accents. You can see them a little bit. I do make them a little bit larger, but I'm just basically procrastinating. Again, like this is what I do. When I think I'm stuck, I will procrastinate with the doodling. So if you see me do a lot of doodling, it means that I am procrastinating so badly. I only realized as I was editing this that I have a giant lollipop in my hand. My hubby brought home lollipops from overseas, and they've got bubble gum inside them, and the whole family loves them. That he bought 3 bags. So please excuse my giant lollipop in the frame. Again, with the procrastination, I'm just outlining the numbers. All of these procrastinating things do add value to my journal pages. They're not just mindless things that I do, but they are things that I go to when I'm feeling like I'm stuck. And in the end, they all look amazing together. You know, I'm a little bit biased, but they all add something to my journal page, but it is my coping mechanism when I feel like I'm just stuck. And so I decide to add the little photograph quote cards and make a little book. And I'm trying to work out what I want to do with the Frida thing, where I want it to go. And then I decide that I'm going to make it like a little pull-out journal card. And I think, do I want to leave it on the square card, or do I want to make it its own tip-in? And I do decide to cut it down because I like it at the 3x4 size. So I have a whole heap of tab punches punched out of scrapbooking paper that I do when I go to my mum's place. I bring all my scrapbooking papers and punch out a stack of tabs. And I decide that I'm going to put tabs on these so it makes them easier to pull out. And I stamp the date on top of the tab just because of my obsession. So, and it also is a little bit more graphic, and obviously I like graphic things, and so I add a little bit of graphic whenever I can. I really liked how it turned out. I do outline it. I'm not sure if yep, I do outline it. I don't know if I did it on camera or not, but I outlined the number 2. Just, you know, something different, a little bit handmade, and it slips right in there, and I really like the way it looks. I always love adding little dashed borders around my tip-in cards. I don't know what it is, and it's something I do a lot, and you'll probably get sick of me saying this. I don't know what it is, but I do it a lot, but it's true. These are my go-to journaling things, and you guys are always asking me what I like to do, and I'm showing you over and over again. These are my go-tos. They're what I like. I love the faux stitched look. It was big in the scrapbooking community a little while ago, but I do love adding dots and dashes and graphic patterns all around things. And then I decide that I want to go gung-ho and create a whole leopard print border, which was strange, but it just kind of started happening, and in the end I really like the way it looks. So the other half of that big printout of the flowers was sitting on my desk, and I decided to cut the other end of the sunflower out. If I have print or something, I do tend to try and use it, and you'll see me use a lot of scraps from one of the other videos that I did for you guys where I sprayed a whole heap of paper with the stencils, and I will try and use what I have in different and unusual ways, and so that is why I am a bit of a hoarder, and I do like to hoard my scraps, because sometimes things that you've made yourself are a lot better than things you can buy. Coming from the most enabling person you know, and me saying that, but it's true. Keep your scraps, but also use your scraps, not just hoard the scraps. Here is me using my scraps. So this was from your Creative Ways to Date Your Work video. I had a whole heap of sprayed paper offcuts, and I had all those little quotes that I didn't use because I didn't have enough photographs. So I decided to make these little quote cards to stick in the pockets because I didn't want them to go to waste. I still loved them, and they were sitting on my desk staring at me. So I decided to turn the little quote cards into things that went into the pocket, because there weren't that many things in the pocket. So I decided to make little collage cards just to sort of, I don't know, use up my scraps and to use the quotes, because it all tied in with Frida, and this was a whole a whole journal post about Frida. So this is the last little bit of this spread, and I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it gave you some little creative tips. I hope it, inspired you to create pockets and collage cards and just play and enjoy and make your own leopard print borders if you must. And I will talk to you guys very, very soon. Bye!